I have suffered from imposter syndrome at multiple points throughout my career. And I mean, even now, I've been working on sort of expanding our company, sort of our profile and our relationships with, for instance, various governments around the world. And I'm out there at these meetings. I went to the World Government Summit in Dubai earlier in the year, and literally world leaders, right, are around. And I'm looking at these people and I'm like, what the heck am I doing here? I'm this game guy. What am I doing here? Right. And that's tough. And then, what I have found, what helps me, and it's taken me a long time to figure this little hack out for myself, is understanding what is the value proposition. Where am I coming in here? Not, hey, I've got to prove myself, right, to these people. It's not about me personally, it's about what I represent. And, for me, it's like, oh, yeah, you know what? Games are an important part of the modern digital economy. And for this government example, most people in, ministers or people in governments don't really know anything about games, right? And, I don't need to say everything perfectly, but, I do need to have a point of view, and that point of view is valid and is being looked for. So it's tough though. And then, just always, I mean, even back to the beginning of, gosh, I'm around some legendary designers, what am I doing in here? Even back then in the beginning of my career, I'd have to sit myself down and remind myself, you know, you're not in the rooms by accident. I didn't just open the door and take a wrong turn down a hallway and I'm in a room where everyone's wondering, what the heck are you doing in the room? If you're in the room, you're in the room for a reason, right? And if, you truly are an imposter, you'll be asked to leave. But if you're in that room and you're staying in the room, you know what? You're not really an imposter. You have something to offer. And so these are just little things that have helped me.
So you have this power around you that you're using to get over that. We described it in the agenda as your soft power. Tell me about that.
So, for me, and this goes back maybe to part of that imposter syndrome question as well, it's taken me a long time to identify what is my skill set or superpower as a leader, and how am I providing value to an organization or a group of people. When I began in the career, and at points throughout my career, I've seen different types of leaders. And, we've all seen the leaders that are, real kind of micromanagers or strong personalities. They're yelling or demanding that people get things done. And there was a point in my career where I thought that's what a leader was, right? But it felt horrible. It felt really disingenuous and it just didn't work. And eventually I realized, hey, I'm actually really good at sitting with people, hearing them out, gently guiding conversations, using techniques like asking leading questions, right, to get to an answer that, to get to a point where I know I want someone to make a decision, but if I tell them that's the decision they have to make, they'll resist. But if I can ask some questions that bring them to the realization that decision is the right one, and I don't mean manipulating, I mean, it's not that nefarious, but there's these things that over the years I'm like, oh, this is natural, this is comfortable. And eventually, someone even described it to me. They're like, you're really good with soft power in an organization. And that was really freeing